Good day, everyone, to my fellow cadets and to our dear professor. This video discussion is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material. With no further ado, the objective of the study is to comprehensively explore the concept of global governance with specific focus on its integration with the COVID-19 pandemic. This objective includes the examination of the impact of globalization on governments, the identification of key international institutions responsible for governing international relations, a clear differentiation between internationalism and globalism, an assessment of the roles and functions of the United Nations, an analysis of the challenges faced by global governance in the 21st century, and an elucidation of the continued relevance of the state in the context of globalization.
What is global governance? With the integration of COVID-19 pandemic, global governance refers to the collective efforts of nations, international organizations, and other stakeholders to address global issues and challenges. It involves creating mechanisms and agreements that facilitate cooperation, coordination, and decision-making on global scale. In the context of COVID-19 pandemic, global governance takes a crucial role. The pandemic demonstrated the interconnectedness of our world and highlighted the need for effective collaboration to manage and mitigate its impact.
Globalization has played a significant role in shaping how governments respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Here are some effects of globalization on governments during this crisis. 1. The interconnectedness of economies. Globalization has led to deeply interconnected economies, which meant that disruptions in one part of the world quickly affected others. Governments had to manage the impact of disrupted supply chains, reduce trade, and decrease economic activity, often leading to economic downturns. 2. Dependency on global trade. Many countries rely on global trade for essential goods, including medical supplies and pharmaceuticals. During the pandemic, governments faced challenges in securing necessary medical equipment due to disruptions in the global supply chain, prompting some to reconsider domestic production capabilities. 3. Information sharing and cooperation. The rapid spread of information through globalization enabled governments to learn from each other's experiences and responses. Countries share data, research findings, and best practices for managing the virus, facilitating a more coordinated global response. 4. Healthcare infrastructure. In some cases, globalization exposed vulnerabilities in healthcare systems, particularly in countries where healthcare infrastructure was not well prepared to handle a pandemic. Governments had to adapt quickly to allocate resources, establish temporary medical facilities, and build medical supply stockpiles. 5. Travel and mobility restrictions. Globalization's emphasis on international travel facilitated the rapid spread of the virus. Governments implemented travel bans, quarantines, and mobility restrictions to curb the transmission of COVID-19, impacting tourism, international business, and migrant labor. 6. Digital transformation. The digital connectivity fostered by the globalization allowed governments to implement remote work and online education measures. It also enabled contact tracing and data collection efforts to monitor and contain the virus spread. 7. International cooperation and competition. Globalization prompted both cooperation and competition among governments. In addressing the pandemic, countries collaborated on vaccine development and distribution through initiatives like COVAX. But there were also instances of vaccine nationalism and competition for limited resources. 8. Economic inequalities. The pandemic exposed disparities exacerbated by globalization, as marginalized populations often face greater health and economic risks. Government grappled with addressing these inequalities while managing the crisis. 9. Policy responses. Governments had to balance their responses to the pandemic with international commitments and agreements. Trade restrictions and export bans on medical supplies sometimes conflicted with existing trade agreements and obligations. Changing international relations. The pandemic influenced international relations and alliances. Some governments sought closer cooperation with traditional partners, while others engaged in mass diplomacy to enhance their global image and influence. In essence, the effects of globalization on government during the COVID-19 pandemic were complex and multifaceted, impacting economic, healthcare, and diplomatic dimension of governance. The crisis highlighted both the advantages and vulnerabilities of a highly interconnected world.
The COVID-19 pandemic has not only significant challenge to our global health system, but also profoundly impact international relations. In an interconnected world, understanding the institution that plays a crucial role in shaping this relation during such crisis is essential. So the first example is World Health Organization. So the World Health Organization, as the premier global health institution, holds a central position in shaping international relations during pandemic like COVID-19. Its primary role involves providing technical guidance, coordinating responses, and sharing information to combat the disease global spread. However, the World Health Organization effectiveness has been subject to criticism related to response time, transparency. So the next one is United Nations. So the United Nations as an overall intergovernmental institution encompasses various specialized agencies that contribute to international relations related to COVID-19. The United Nations key role in this context lies in facilitating global cooperation, promoting sustainable development, and addressing global challenges. Nevertheless, the United Nations faces challenges when it comes to decision making, power dynamics among member states, and effective implementation of its resolutions. So the last one is International Monetary Funds and World Bank. Amidst the economic repercussion of COVID-19, the IMF and World Bank have assumed significant role in shaping international relations. These institutions provide financial technical assistance to countries, mitigating the socioeconomic impact of pandemic. However, their conditionalities, lending mechanics, and potential power imbalance have generated debates regarding their efficiency and impact on nation sovereignty.
So internationalism is a political and economic ideology that emphasizes cooperation and interaction among countries on a global scale. It recognized the interdependence of countries and emphasized the importance of working together to address common challenges and pursue shared goals. Internationalism often involves the establishment of international organizations, treaties, and agreements to facilitate this cooperation. It places importance on diplomacy, peaceful relations, and addressing global issues through collective action. So here are the ideas and approaches about from internationalism. Internationalism focuses on states and primarily emphasizes cooperation and collaboration between the sovereign states. It involves states working together to achieve common goals and resolve conflicts and promote mutual interest. This approach recognizes the importance of preserving national sovereignty while acknowledging the benefits of international cooperation. Bilateral and multilateral diplomacy. Internationalism often involves the negotiation of treaties, agreements, and diplomatic efforts between the individual countries or groups of countries. These agreements can be specific to certain issues or areas of cooperation. Respect for diversity. Internationalism tends to respect and acknowledge the diversity of cultures, traditions, and political systems across different nations. It recognizes that different countries have unique priorities and approaches. The last one is the cooperation on specific issues. Internationalism is often characterized by collaboration on specific issues such as security, trade, environment, and humanitarian aid. The focus is on addressing challenges, opportunities through diplomatic means.
Globalization refers to the interconnectedness and interdependence of country and people around the world, driven by the exchange of goods, services, information, culture, and technology. It is the process of increasing integration and interaction among countries on a global scale. So here are the ideas and approaches from globalism, such as focus on humanity as whole. Globalism places our greater emphasis on viewing humanity as a single interconnected entity. It sees challenges, opportunities, and solutions as transcending national boundaries and requiring collective global action. Transitional institutions. Globalism involves the strengthening of traditional institutions such as the United Nations, World Trade Organization, and the International Monetary Fund. These institutions aim to manage global issues that affect all countries, such as climate change, international trade, and health crisis. Shared values and norms. Globalism often advocates for the promotion of universal values, human rights, and the norms that apply all individuals. Regardless of their nationality, it seeks to establish a common framework addressing global challenges. Holistic approach. Globalism takes a more comprehensive approach to addressing global issues by recognizing their interconnected nature. It promotes cooperation on a wide range of topics, including economics, security, culture, and more.
The rules of globalization in the United Nations. The United Nations plays several roles in the context of globalization. First, promoting international cooperation, the UN serves as platforms for member states to collaborate on global issues. Second, peace and security. One of the primary roles of UN is to maintain international peace and security. Third, development and poverty reduction. The UN works towards reducing poverty and promoting sustainable development worldwide. Fourth, human rights. The UN upholds and advocates for human rights globally. Fifth, environmental sustainability. The UN addresses global environmental challenges through initiatives like the UNEP. Sixth, global governance. The UN provides a forum for international negotiation and treaties, fostering a system of global governance. 7. Humanitarian assistance. The UN plays a key role in delivering humanitarian aid during crises, including natural disasters and conflicts. 8. Cultural exchange and education. UNESCO promotes cultural exchange and education, contributing to the diversity and interconnectedness of culture in the globalized world. 9. Health and pandemic response. Organizations like the World Health Organization, a United Nations agency, coordinates global efforts to address health issues and response to pandemics, reflecting the interdependence of health in the globalized world. In summary, the United Nations serves as multi-phase organizations that plays a crucial role in shaping and managing various aspects of globalization, from peace and security to development, human rights, and environmental sustainability. It aims to ensure that globalization is more inclusive, fair, beneficial for all nations and people.
I am Adrian Clive Inapolis, and I'm going to discuss about the function of UN in globalization. According to Delbruck, the UN has become a global actor with a meaningful role to play in the process of globalization. It should serve as a forum for the determination of international public interest, to promote the participation of non-state actors, and work to expand and reshape the international legal framework. To develop friendly relations among nations based on respect for the principle of equal rights and self-determination of people, and to take other appropriate measures to strengthen universal peace. It is also to achieve international cooperation in solving international problems of an economic, social, cultural, or humanitarian character, and in promoting and encouraging respect for human rights and for fundamental freedoms for all without distinction as to race, sex, language, or religion.
Global governance refers to the complex of institutions, mechanisms, relationships, and processes between and among states, non-state actors, markets, citizens, and organizations that articulate collective interests on the global plane, establish rights and obligations, and mediate differences. Good day to you all, I am Cadet Centino Roy Janino, and today we'll talk about the challenges of global governance in the 21st century. There are 7 challenges that the global governance face today. To begin with, the first challenge is the complexity of global issues. The interconnectedness of the global issues such as climate change, terrorism, and economic inequality makes it difficult to address them through traditional governance structures. For example, addressing climate change involves understanding the scientific complexities, coordinating efforts among multiple countries and sectors, in balancing environmental concerns with economic development. Similarly, terrorism requires cooperation among nations, intelligence sharing, and addressing root causes such as political instability and social grievances. The second global governance challenge is the power shifts and geopolitical dynamics. The shifting power dynamics among nations and the emergence of new global players can create tensions and hinder effective global governance. Balancing the interest and influence of different countries while promoting cooperation and collaboration is a key challenge in global governance. Third is the lack of trust and cooperation. Building trust and fostering cooperation among nations is crucial for effective global governance. However, mistrust, conflicting interests, and geopolitical rivalries can impede progress and hinder collective decision making. The lack of trust and hinder collective decision making processes can impede progress on important global issues. It can lead to reluctance to share information, collaborate on solutions, or commit to international agreements. Without trust, it can become difficult to establish common goals and work towards them in coordinated manner. The fourth challenge is the technological advancements. Rapid technological advancements such as the artificial intelligence, cybersecurity threats, and digital privacy concerns pose challenges to global governance. Developing regulatory frameworks and international agreements to address these issues while promoting innovation is a complex task. The fifth global governance challenge is the inequality and social justice. Addressing global inequalities, including economic disparities, social injustices, and access to resources, is a persistent challenge for global governance. Ensuring fair and inclusive policies that promote sustainable development and reduce inequality is crucial. So the sixth global governance challenge is the environmental sustainability. Just like the first challenge, the urgent need to address the climate change and environmental degradation requires global cooperation. An effective governance mechanism, developing and implementing sustainable policies and practices to mitigate the impact of human activities in the planet is a significant challenge. And lastly, among the seven global governance challenges is the governance gaps in fragmentation. The existing global governance structures and institutions may not be adequately address emerging challenges or reflect the changing dynamics of the world. Bridging governance gaps and promoting coherence and coordination among different institutions is essential.
Good day everyone, I am Decadet Logroño General R, and I'm going to discuss about the relevance of the state amid globalization. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, the relevance of the state amid globalization became increasingly evident as countries grappled with the health, economic, and social challenges posed by the virus. Here are some case aspects of this relevance. So the first one is public health and safety. The pandemic highlighted the primary responsibility of states to ensure the health and safety of their citizens. Government play a central role in implementing measures such as lockdowns, travel restriction, testing, contact tracing, and vaccination campaigns to contain the spread of the virus. So the second one is border control and mobility. While globalization promotes the movement of people, goods, and information across borders, the pandemic led many countries to temporarily close their borders and restrict international travels to control the virus transmission. States had to balance the needs to protect public health with the imperative of international connectivity. So the third one is resource allocation. States become responsible securing the distributing of medical supplies, equipment, vaccines within their territories. The pandemic underscored the importance of the state capacity to manage the allocate resource effectively in times of crisis. So the fourth one is global collaboration. While state took individual action, the pandemic also highlighted the needs for international collaboration. Countries work together on scientific research, searching the best practice and effort to ensure a collective response to the crisis. So the fifth one is policy response. States had to tailor policies to their specific needs reflecting importance of national sovereignty and decision making. So the sixth one is information dissemination. State played a vital role in disseminating accurate information, combating misinformation, and promoting public awareness about COVID-19. So the seventh one is healthcare systems. State had to ensure that their healthcare infrastructure was capable of managing the influx of patients and providing essential medical services. So the eighth one is socioeconomic support. Government implemented various measures to provide socioeconomic support to individuals, business, and vulnerable population affected by lockdowns. So in summary, the COVID-19 pandemic reminded the world that while globalization has brought interconnectedness and interdependence, the state remains a pivotal actor in safeguarding public health, ensuring national resilience, and making decisions that directly affect the well-being of its citizens.